like a gift, speeding down the lane. Victor's in our name. We win together, rain or shine. PHG forever, crossing the line. Wheels burn on the track. PHG is where it's at. Roads long and winding, but our team's always grinding. Underneath the starry sky, engines roar, we fly. Sweat beading on our brow. Teamwork's the key right now. We win together, rain or shine. PSG forever, crossing the line. Gasoline and fire, chasing every desire. Around the curves we go. Teamwork keeps our flow. Every gear we
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our splits 2 and 4 for round 3 of the PHG World Series. My name is Slow-Mo, and I am joined today by my co-host, Mr. Tuzenbox and Mr. Casual. Mr. Tuzenbox, how are you doing today, sir? Are you excited for some racing?
I am very excited to be here. Yesterday's races was a lot of tire management, so looking forward to seeing a lot more of that today.
Yeah, and Mr. Casual, I know you were on the broadcast yesterday, so you got a front row view of all the action. Do you expect something pretty similar today with our races?
Yeah, I think the first couple laps it could be a feeling out process for both splits. But I think once everyone settles in, I think that's when you could possibly see some action. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, after watching yesterday's, I expect some high drama for our splits today. And before we get into too much detail, let's take a look at our track and some of the details with today's race. Tuzum, do you mind going through the information here for us?
Absolutely. So this is race 3 of season 2. We are racing at Willow Springs, the Big Willow Circuit. I'm going to be driving for 25 laps. The tire wear is up to 5 times, and both the racing hards and mediums are required. The fuel rate is at 2 times, and they are racing the Group 3 cars for this race.
Fantastic. And next, we're going to take a look here at the bonus point information. Mr. Casual, do you want to run us through some of the bonus point details?
Of course. So first, we have fastest overall qualifier. So you could be in split 4, but if you set the fastest time over all the splits, that's an extra 5 points. And then next, we have the pole of the split that you're in. You get an additional 5 points for that. And then we have fastest lap of your particular split. So if you get, even if you miss the first fastest overall qualifier, you could get the next two, and that could be 10 points for you. And then we have 5 points up for grabs for those who lead the most laps. So that's always something to keep an eye out for. And even if you only lead 1 lap, like you still get 1 point, if nothing else.
Yep, and those points can definitely add up quite quickly as we're going through our series here. We'll take a look here at our manufacturers, and there are 240 points currently allocated to Team Genesis, with BMW in second with 146. Good old Team Ferrari in 106 in P3. McLaren with 78 in P4. And you can see down the line Mazda, Nissan, Lamborghini, Chevy, and Porsche with Toyota in P10. There are obviously other manufacturers included that just don't have enough points to get onto the leaderboard there. So this is a manufacturer series where the drivers have picked a specific manufacturer, and they're going to run all of their races through this series within that manufacturer, either GR3 or GR4. So really exciting series that PHG has put on. And now let's take a look at the drivers for our Split 2 race, which will be our first race this afternoon. In no particular order, these drivers are going to qualify for their starting position. PHG Banana, who is in the BMW. Talon, driving in the Nissan. Wicked CBR, who is on Team Genesis. Speedburner, driving for Team Porsche. PHG Papa in the trademark McLaren there for him. Papa Oso driving for Team Lamborghini. CRN Identity CBR driving for Team Genesis. McNaughty driving on Team Lamborghini. BHR Johnny Boy, Team Lexus. Slowpoke Rods CBR driving for Team Porsche. PHG SPC on Team Genesis. Angry Fredbird also on Team Genesis. PHG. And it went to racing. Going back there. Okay. PHG Slick VR driving for Team Ferrari and RSR Zilla and Team Lexus. So all these guys are going to be hitting the track here in just a moment to get their qualifying laps down and get our starting grid set. So before we get into qualifying, I think it's fair to talk that there are a variety of strategies that these guys could do. With possible one-stopper, I would expect splits 2 and maybe split 4 we're going to see a couple more two-stoppers than that, but I've been wrong before. Mr. Casual, what are you expecting from the strategy game from our drivers here in split 2?
I'm looking at cars that don't have as much tire wear. They could possibly do a one stop if they're good at tire saving, but I've never been a person good on saving tires. So if I was in the race, I'd probably end up doing the two stop just to be safe. But yeah, it could be interesting between those who risk it for the one stop and those who play it safe with the two stop.
Yeah, excellent point. Obviously, there are some of those manufacturers that are a little less rough on the tires at times. TUSM is, obviously you've driven every car around the Nordschleifer. When you're looking at tire wear for specific vehicles, is there a particular preference you would have for this race at 5 times tire wear?
So when I did my laps around Nords, I didn't have on tire wear, but yeah, I don't know. I think 5x tire wear for all the cars, I really think is going to be a struggle. I can't imagine one car having more of an advantage over others, but that's kind of more along the lines of just my lack of experience with a lot of the Group 3s and their tire wear. Yeah, if I had to choose, I would probably just stick with my good old BMW. Yeah, it's going to be tough. I'm definitely going to see how the drivers fare today.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice. Obviously, we saw some folks do very well in BMWs yesterday. For those of you who want to watch splits 1 and 3 yesterday, you can find those on Sal's channel. Be sure to subscribe and like, and don't forget to subscribe and like here on P-Case's channel, who is back there in the booth doing production for us today. Drivers are now entering the track. We're riding along with Talon here. They're obviously going to do an outlap before they get into our flyers here. And we maybe take a chance now to look at some of the liveries these guys have. There are always exceptional liveries out there.
Oh, yeah.
And let us know in the chat if you have a specific favorite. There's Slick, 8-Ball.
Yeah. Shame I don't have patience to make a livery. Otherwise, I would make something, but yeah, I just don't have the patience.
Yeah, Fredbird loves designing his liveries, number 49 on most. There is Rick Shear in the PHG Classic, driving Team Corvette.
Nice.
Under
Yeah.
Armour. All right.
First time we've seen Under Armour.
I noticed we had a couple of Hooters cars on the track.
Oh.
Oh, Doritos.
Yeah. I don't eat them as often as I used to, but I do like that
CBR. See,
Doritos.
they didn't all have the food references yesterday. Same. CBR guys bringing the food. There's McNaughty. That's a beautiful NRL livery there. Look at that guy. And Papa Oso, did we see this livery yesterday? Maybe. I think T. Case even mentioned it was kind of a martini style livery there. That's classic. And we are jumping on board with Angry Fredbird, who I know very well, on his first flying lap. He is coming into this braking zone there, taking that nice left. This section here can be quite tricky. Get your car positioned and turned right to get down this hill. And then as soon as you're down there, you're shifting the weight and getting it to go right. And the car left, the car just wants to fade right on you. Coming through here. This is a pretty smooth section time. Yeah, he's got a pretty solid time. And I know Fredbird isn't going to push it too hard in the beginning. Mr. Casual, it's funny. You and him would probably get along quite well because we used to joke. Fredbird runs casual laps. That's kind of one thing I know he does to keep himself from pushing too hard, which is a mistake that I make very commonly.
What he can pull out. He's got 13.8.
And I don't think that's going to hold too long.
Yeah.
As we see a variety of cars coming through. McNaughty, Banana. And we got a couple more coming through the start-finish here. We see Slowpoke and Talon jump into the pit to get some fresh tires.
Yep.
Looks like after the first round of laps, we have PHG Banana and pole with an 11.944.
I wonder if he becomes Electric Banana when he's on pole.
Yeah, and we just had our last couple cars go across the start-finish on their quali laps, so everybody has been through one lap at least. And as you see our field shaping up, we're riding along with McNaughty. And, some of us don't get to see McNaughty drive as much in some of these competitive leagues as we'd like to, because, well, he's running his.
If you take a really close look at the tires, that gives you the idea of the tire wear that the drivers are dealing with. After 2 laps on the softs, the front tires are absolutely destroyed. So these guys are only going to get 1 hot lap on each set of soft tires, and they're going to have to be extremely careful on their out lap not to use up any of that tire.
Yeah. And this being a higher split is like, you can only afford to do 1 hot lap.
Yeah, I found that really amazing. I mean, to think that somebody would put a set of softs on during race to get, 2 laps out of them just seems silly. Now, granted, Casual, I know you discussed it yesterday. That pit loss isn't terrible here. They can get in and out pretty quick, maybe making a 2-stop viable. I don't know that I'd go and push it for a 3-stop.
Because one thing, whoever the leader ends up being in the race, if they pull out a big enough gap, they could possibly go for a fastest overall purple lap. So
that's true.
Yeah, because we've seen our leaders from split 1 and 3. I think Jorge was like 14 seconds out in front, and then in split 3, our leader was a whole, I think it was like up to 21 seconds. So they could have done it if they wanted to.
Yeah, it seemed like both leaders had a pretty commanding lead as you got into the late laps there, 23, 24. Boy, they had pretty good gaps. So to your point, you want to go in and get that flyer, get that hot lap and fastest lap of the race. You could always take that risk and go into the pits one more time. Then again, my personal driving style, if I'm leading the race and it's that late, the last thing I want to do is push too hard and make a mistake.
Talon, he also improved with a 12.6.
He's still 6.5 tenths away from Banana, though. That's a pretty big gap to close out in the next 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's not easy to get into the 11s. If you put in the time, you can do it. But you need get it right on this track. And as we've seen yesterday, it can be harder to do.
And SPC taking that wider line there through that last turn. He was up just a touch on his personal best and does improve just a little bit. Puts him up into P8 and he resets back to the pit to get some fresh rubber. We're on board with Banana, who is currently purple through the first section.
And he was, yeah. He's coming around the right-hander of Doom.
I get a little bit of slip from, who's that in front? I think that's McNaughty in front of him.
That might be, yeah, and you got to take advantage of that. He is. He's just over a tenth up on his, and actually our lobby's fastest lap at 1:11.834. So he is looking to drop that down just a little bit lower. And these guys put in their work. Make no mistake about it. They come out and they are well prepared. They have their strategies ready to roll. I think Leo winged it a little bit, but even then, putting in a P4, he obviously knew what he was doing there. We jump on board with Slick SHVR as he's going on that downhill section there, making that left. That's quite the off-camber left where your car just wants to go into the dirt.
Oh, yeah. It's like you can carry momentum going outside, but yeah, it's like a fine line.
It really is. It really is. I've tried all kinds of different things in that turn, and that's probably one of my weakest spots on the track there. Jumping on board with the corn, running ethanol, I bet.
I got eyes on Slowpoke in P5. He is 3/10 up on his previous bets after Sector 2. He's coming around the final straight now.
And I saw Angry Fred improved his time to 13.3.
Yep, and Slowpoke actually put himself right up to P2 with that most recent lap he threw down. So he is just over a half second off our leader's pace.
Ooh. Talent improved to...
Oh, yes, he did. Look at that.
So he's... I think that's 12.2, I think.
I think it's a 12.2. He immediately reset to the pits. I think he's going to try to get one more hot lap, but he's going to have to to punch it because it's going to be really close to the... Yeah. Let's see if he makes it though. He's gonna destroy those tires in the process though.
Well, we've got 1 minute left here for these guys, and obviously if they get across the line to start a new lap, they can finish that lap, generally speaking. So we're on board with P2 right now on Talon, coming around this top section. And looking good. You don't see, I mean, we haven't seen anybody make any major mistakes through qualifying. We haven't seen anybody make any skateboard tricks. Nothing too crazy yet. So this is certainly a lobby that seems to be driving the way I would, just cautious.
Yeah. Also keeping an eye on Banana, see if he can improve or if he'll have to settle with his current time.
He's gonna be so close for Talon. I'm so scared. I think he's good though.
4, 5, 6.
Okay, he just made it. Okay, he'll be our last driving across the line.
And I think we're going to stay on board with Talon here and see if he can steal pole away from Banana. He is going to be the last person across. So keep your eyes on the left-hand side there. You've got the drivers and where their current starting grid positions would be if we stopped right now.
That's quick.
Banana just went purple in Sector 2.
Yeah, he's a 10th and a half up, Banana is. But we'll see if Talon can answer.
Talon keeping it nice and tight on that section there.
Up also crosses the line, does improve up into P5.
Woo.
Yeah. Slick goes up to P8.
Yeah, I mean, this track can be so exciting. I say it all the time, but there's so much room to error here.
Oh yeah.
There are a couple, spots that, some people like the beach, some people like the ocean. I think I heard TK say he likes the ocean, he doesn't like the beach. Well, I don't like the beach here either. So, you, you know,
He doesn't
and
improve.
Talon stays in P2.
Okay.
So that
Uh,
should round out our starting grid. I
yep.
don't believe
That's
anybody else is on track.
that's everyone. Okay.
Well,
So that's quite a blistering time from Banana.
yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we saw in a lot of the split one drivers, if I'm not mistaken. That's a pretty strong time.
Yeah. You can definitely tell the ones that definitely put the time in.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's stamping his name on this lobby. Like, this is the time to beat. I am the guy to
that's
beat.
right.
You're coming after me now.
That's right. He said you better have your strategies lined out because I do. Well, I think we are. Are we going to get to look at? There it goes. Okay, get to look at our starting grid here and where everybody is positioned. So, let's see. Tuzum, do you want to take us through the starting grid?
Sure thing. We've got PhD Banana on pole with a 111.480. Talon in P2 set a 112.227. BHR Johnny Boy 112.407 will be starting in third. A Slowpoke starting in P4 with a 112.445. Papa Oso starts in fifth with a 112.596. PHG Rick Shear starts in sixth with a 112.626. RSR Zilla in P7 with a 112.678. PHG SPC starts in eighth with a 112.823. On P9, we have PHG Slick with a 112.876. McNaughty will start in 10th with a 112.883. Porn Identity is in P11 with a 113.301. And rounding out the grid is Angry Fredbird with a 113.320.
That's interesting. Last week we saw the Genesis had a little bit of an advantage at that track, and here we are at a different track, and it doesn't look like the Genesis has quite that same advantage here. Again, Team BMW seems to really have a good opportunity to close it out here. So let's see if PHG Banana can add some more points to Team BMW's total their tally. The drivers are gearing up. I think they're getting their last sips of water here and are getting ready to kick our grid off here in just a second. Whoa, goodness. Let's see if these guys get around their first laps without incident. Any predictions, gentlemen? Do you think anybody's getting into it too early?
Um. Well, I'm wondering if Talon and Johnny, if they'll be like cooperate or if they'll try to battle each other. Because I think if they can keep up with Banana, I think they might be more uh agreeable on working together. But if Banana's just like running away, then I could see Talon on the defense early.
I think that's a valid point, and you also have to consider starting tire strategy, right? So, are they starting on hards or mediums? I would bet quite a bit of money that nobody's starting on softs, but you never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what the drivers are going to be starting on because that's going to determine exactly who's going to set the pace early on. Possibly we'll see some chaos in the midfield based off of everybody's tire choice.
And here we go. Drivers lined up. This is a rolling start, so we'll get these guys going here as they cross the start finish. That is when they will be free to give it all beans.
Okay.
So almost all drivers are on hards. Slowpoke and SPC are on mediums.
Okay. I got to be honest. That's the strategy I would go with. So, and here we go. Tires are rolling. We're racing today. PHG Banana starts off. Talon And Johnny Boy seemed to fall in line. As you look down the field, it looks like they're in a pretty good lineup.
Yeah.
Let's see if we get through the first couple turns without incident,
Okay.
or if somebody gets wide, narrow, who's peeking up doors. This is a pretty good look here.
Yeah.
You can almost see the whole field as you look back there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. it
Banana
looks
seems
like
to be making
everyone's
room,
playing
and they've
safe.
only done 2 turns.
Yeah. Everyone's just keeping it pointed in the right direction, and nothing really worth mentioning.
Kind of getting a little sideways.
Oh,
A little
Oh,
slip.
Somebody's off. Somebody's off. It is. It was PHG SPC. He's down in the
Okay.
P12 now. He went wide and then looks like he got reset. That's gonna.
Oh. Let's see if we
Let's
can
take a
get a
look to see what
replay of that.
happened.
Here we go.
But yeah. So did he go wide?
So he's coming through here. Oh, he is a little wide there. Can he get it back? Yeah, okay.
It looks like there was some contact and
Yeah.
he got pushed out wide.
Okay.
And we're back on board with our leader, PHG Banana.
Oh, we got
Who
more
is-
people off.
Oh, we got some more action.
McNaughty, Corn, and Zilla. They something happened between those 3 cars. They're all in the back now.
Ooh.
Not sure exactly what happened. Let's see. McNaughty has front damage. I just healed, so I can't see it now.
Hey.
And here we go. We're riding along board with McNaughty. He is already in the back. I think we might have missed what happened there, but that is unfortunate. That's a pretty big gap he's going to have to try and close. Jumping back on board with our lead pack here, we've got Rich here in P4. You can see 5, 6, and 7 not far behind him. 1, 2, and 3 are just ahead. And
Yeah.
obviously we've had a little bit of activity going on with some position changes, but the lead pack seems to be kind of falling in line.
Yeah, spreading out
Yeah.
just a bit. Maybe just
Yeah.
trying to get settled in and try to really start working on the tire preservation, especially for Slowpoke and P3 on the mediums. His mediums, actually, they're in pretty good condition
Yeah.
compared to the hard drivers around him. So it looks like he's going to try to go as long as he can on those mediums and try to one-stop to hards.
Boy, that one stop is a tricky strategy here with that tire wear at 5 times. But we obviously saw it was possible yesterday as PHG Banana going purple here through the first section. He is trying to widen his gap. He's almost got a full 1.5 seconds out of Talon there on P2. So he seems to have a really good pace in line here that he is just taking advantage of and pulling away from the pack right now. And we kind of bounce through the field a little bit here. Here is P3 with Slowpoke rods. And he is positioning here to make the final turn. See if he can get through this nice and clean. You can certainly make or break your race with this one turn right here.
Yeah, I think Slowpoke will want to try and catch up as quickly as he can because pace from his mediums are going to fall off after so long. So he kind of needs to try and catch up Talon.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned the one stopper. What do you think is the longest these guys are going to be able to get out of a set of hards? We saw some pretty strong strategies yesterday. Do you think anybody replicates what we saw from our first and third split yesterday?
It can really depend, honestly. It first depends on what car you're in. Some are just handicapped by tire wear, and then obviously it's the type of equipment you use. For those that race on controller, you have just by default more tire wear than someone who's on a wheel. Even the most budget wheel has better tire wear than the controller does, so that's something to take into consideration.
We got P7 Slick on the attack on Johnny Boy going down the inside of the final corner. Stuck his nose down there, but he slots back behind Johnny Boy.
He looks like he is eyeing it up. Let's see if he can make himself an open door to get through. He's definitely in the slip there, but it looks like he is going to hold his position unless he tries to make a move on Johnny Boy in turn 1.
Oh, there's some contact.
Contact.
Yeah, saw that, but looked like they got through it well enough. Oh,
We're going to take another look at that.
and someone's off at the right-hander of Doom.
Yeah, it looks like
Johnny Boy slowed down too much for that corner. I'm not saying it was a brake check, but it looked like he slowed down a lot more than he needed to.
he might have overbraked that just a touch. Yeah, I think that's
Possibly.
kind of what we saw Slick bumping into him with. But no harm, no foul. So
yeah,
they continue racing, and we are still on board with Slick.
Okay.
We're to P3 Slowpoke CBR. Here is Talon and him.
And
You can see ahead, Banana's just starting to pull away a little bit, not too much.
Yeah,
He's still
it's
about a
not too
second and a
much.
half. Oh, well, that's actually increasing as he comes through that last turn. He's definitely got a really good line going through there because you can see that gap increase. And if you look on the left-hand side of the screen, you see a couple times there. The time between Banana and Talon is actually the difference between those two cars. And then the time in red on the right is going to be the difference between that car and whoever the leader is. In this case, they match because we're looking at P2. So P2 is always the same.
I just want to point out really quick, I'm looking at the tires between the top 3. Slowpoke on those mediums, his front left is in excruciating pain. I'm not sure how much longer he's going to be able to go on those tires, but looking at Talon's tires versus Banana, Banana is pushing his tires a little bit harder. He has a bit more wear than Talon, so Talon might be playing the long game, trying to extend the hard stint. I don't know, Banana might be going for a 2-stop. It's hard to say this early, but yeah, just something to keep in mind for this early stage of the race.
Talon's tires, it looks like he has enough. He's in good enough shape for an extra lap, where I think Banana might need to possibly go in a lap before. So, could be spicy.
And the Corvette behind in P4 is just not having a good tire day either. His tires are even worse than P1 and P2. I wonder if he's on a controller.
The field seems to be pretty spread out, except for this little group that we're watching here, which is 6, 7, and 8. So that's Johnny Boy, Slick, and Fredbird right there. These guys are, it doesn't look like they're battling so much as they are just kind of packed up, and maybe that slipstream will help them catch up with the group in front. And I believe SPC made a switch there from mediums to hards, so he is met his tire requirement for the day.
Just spun in the final corner.
Oh no!
He was in a battle with Zilla for P11. Oh, I believe that might be the first rage quit of the day.
Yeah. Yep. I was going to say that was the second time we've seen someone died in that one. So.
Slowpoke's pulling into the pit from P3, getting off of those mediums. Let's see what he switches on to. It was at 19 laps on hards. That
might be
That seems a lofty goal.
I agree. I'm always on the end of caution, so I'm gonna plan the 2-stopper, and then maybe you get through a few laps and you go, you know what, maybe it is a 1-stopper, but I wouldn't imagine it is here. I'd be pushing a little bit too hard personally.
So
he did come out on hard, so we'll keep an eye out on him as the race goes on. See what he's planning on doing. Again, I think 19 laps is just 18, 19 laps is just. I think that's asking too much even from the hards.
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
Because I think if you try to do a 1-stop, I think it's better to start on hards because you use up a fair amount of fuel on the hards, so that can extend the medium maybe by a lap or so.
Yeah, and it looks like the track, if you look in the upper right-hand corner, you see our track layout. The car that has the red arrow, that's who we're riding along with. So right now that is the 3rd position, which is Papa Oso. And you can see he kind of gives you a good look at kind of how the field is splitting out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, You got 5, 6, 7 that might be a little bit closer together than some of the other folks, but these guys are spacing out a little bit from each other. And as the strategies start to play out here, and these guys make their first couple pit stops, I mean, look at those racing hards. You're not even getting 10 laps out of a hard set of tires. That's just mind-boggling to me.
Banana's on a purple lap.
I'm honestly surprised he's going purple with those tires. Like his front left
yeah.
is absolutely screaming.
And we see
It's Johnny Boy, I believe.
that
Oh, look
yeah,
at Slick.
he just went really wide.
Yep. You leave a door open like that, somebody's going to drive through it. And Slick said, I will take that spot. Thank you very much.
That's why.
Yeah. Yeah, look at the tire degradation we're seeing on those hards. There's a fresh set from Slowpoke. He's got plenty of tread. You can get him by Johnny Boy.
Banana's in.
Banana in the pits. Very good.
Yeah.
So our leader is in.
Has enough. Our new leader has enough for probably maybe even 3 laps.
He's done a really good job conserving his tires, not really putting the battle to Banana. Yeah, let's see what Banana comes out on another set of hards, so he is going for a 2-stop. Talon, if he can keep up this tire preservation, maybe get, I guess, maybe around 5 more laps. I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye out. Like, I don't think we're gonna get an idea of what everybody's running until at least 2/3 of the way through this race.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thought, though. I mean, personally, if it's me and I'm doing a 2-stopper, I thought you'd go medium, hard, or whatever order that is. But it looks like we've got some guys that are doing hard with maybe 1 stop on the medium. So that's interesting.
I mean, look, they did the practice. They know what the tires can do. So, they'll pick out the strategy that works out best for them. Here in the commentary box, we just kind of have to roll with what we see.
That's right, and trust me, I am not always right, and probably more often than not, these guys surprise me when I say, "Oh, you probably wouldn't do that," and they go, "Well, not only am I going to do that, but I'm going to do it and make it work." So there is skill on track here. Make no mistake about it, folks. On board with, let's see, we're on Slowpoke right now. He is in P4, and you can see there's just over a 1.5-second gap between him and Slick ahead of him. He's 12 seconds off the lead. So they are obviously going to try and close that gap.
Pop also just did his first stop. He went in from the hards. He's now on a set of mediums.
Okay, very good. Yeah, in that Lambo, man. But that Lambo seemed to be very challenging for some of the guys yesterday. 1 dirty tire, and it seemed like that was just about all it could handle. And jumping over to Rick Shear as he comes around the back section. Downhill right-hander into the left. And taking that one wide a little bit. Back onto the inside. I feel like you can lose a little bit of time if you get wide on that kind of downhill left hand. There's Fred Bird, who has moved up the pack. He started at the back of the pack here. He is purple on this flyer.
Yeah.
So our leader is in the pit, so let's take a look to see. He is on a set of mediums now.
Okay. And
drops down to third. Slowpoke's just barely slots in front of him. Banana regains the lead. He is 5 seconds ahead of Slowpoke in P2.
And Fredbird went ahead and put up the fastest lap there with a 1:13.411. Based on what we saw in qualifying, I would imagine that somebody would top that, but we'll have to see. They also did quali on softs, right? So now we're on mediums and hards, and it is a little bit of a different ball game around this track.
All right.
And you see Slick has made his pit stop, come out on fresh tires, got himself positioned right in front of Fred Bird there.
Okay.
Fred Bird's probably just going to try and follow him if I had to bet.
I'm looking at the battle for P2 right now. Slowpoke, he was all over the back of Talon. Actually, no, Talon overtook Slowpoke, so Talon's now in P2 with those mediums going to try to close the gap to Banana up in P1.
And looking back there, you can see Slowpoke just sniffing Talon's tailpipe, so he wants to get that spot.
Yeah, Slick and Fredbird are close as well. Keeping an eye on them in case anyone goes for anything, but looks like everyone's holding steady at the moment.
And we're probably just past our halfway point.
Yeah, it looks like our closest battle is the battle for P6 right now. Most of the grid is spread out, but the gap from P1 to P2 is down about a second from where it was about a lap ago.
Yep, looking backwards from Slick's car, you can see Fredbird there just over a half second back. As they come into, this one's referred to as the major, right? The big major.
Alan sets fastest lap with a 12.973.
Goodness.
There it is. And Slick and Fredbird get through the last turn without incident.
Okay.
Yeah, it does kind of look like Slick's got a little bit of an advantage, and it's probably the tire advantage over Fredbird there.
I was going to say his tires are better than Fred's.
Yeah, that 30 air isn't helping him either.
Yeah, that Genesis has good acceleration, but yeah, being in the dirty air is going to handicap it to a degree.
Call me weird. I like the GR4 Genesis better than the GR3. Personal opinion.
Casual.
I don't know. Personally, I'd like to stay as far away from Group 4 as possible, especially after the bop nerf where they all lost like 50, 70 horsepower, however much they were.
Well, yeah, they ruined Subaru. Just ruined it. Slick and
they both.
And Fredbird running a little wide. He keeping it together. Yeah, they were both. Well, it looked like Slick got inside that turn and ran just a touch wide. Let's see. Here's from Fredbird's perspective. Yeah, Slick, I believe, not too bad. Fredbird just a little wide. No problem. I'm sure that.
Okay.
Genesis was easy to maintain. Just keep it pointing in the right direction, right?
So Slowpoke and Papa Oso are pretty close.
Yeah, that looks like a really good battle. Let's see how this plays out. Obviously, Papa Oso would love to get himself a podium position there. Boy, I would also bet that Slowpoke has a pit stop here before the end of the race. So,
yeah.
10 more laps with half-worn hards? Nah, I doubt it.
Oh, it's going to take a look on
Here
the
goes
inside,
Papa
going to the
Oso.
final corner.
Going for it.
And it looks like he's going to get that move down no problem.
Yeah, he got it.
Yeah, makes it stick even before the corner, yeah.
And Slowpoke didn't fight him too much, which is probably smart when you get into that corner. And anytime you do too much of an input change into this corner here, your car gets unsettled and you're just in no man's land. So really well executed pass we see here. That is not an easy spot to make a pass work.
Looking at Slowpoke's tires, it looks like it's not going to last. And if it's not going to last, then honestly, you might be better off trying to undercut Papa Oso.
I love myself a good undercut, man. Woo!
So,
we got yellow flags. McNaughty, not sure what happened in P11. I think he got it wrong coming in out of the penultimate corner.
The curse of the Lamborghini here, unfortunately. Let's see if we can take a look. Well, we see the aftermath. I don't think we get to see what happened. That is unfortunate for McNaughty.
McNaughty spins again in the final corner.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Not sure what happened.
We were seeing.
He has absolutely no left side tires. His left
He
rear
doesn't.
is
Look at
just
that.
gone.
Yeah.
Dang.
And is he past the pit entrance already?
No.
No,
Nope, there he
he's
is.
pulling
Okay.
into the pits
Okay,
now.
he's got it. Whew.
I think that was Rick going in. That was Rick.
Yes, that
going
was
in
Rick
as
here.
well.
Back on board
Okay.
with Slowpoke in P4. You'll see Papa Oso in P3, just a touch ahead of him. About a second. A little bit under that.
Yeah. Now the question is, are they both going to go in at the same time, or is one going to undercut the other?
That's absolutely right. And, I think the other question is, does anybody throw up a new fast lap here? Obviously Talon's got it. It's been there for a few laps. I'm curious if anybody's going to be able to best that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Talon, he has closed the gap to P1 to just under 2 seconds. Both
Talon.
Banana and Talon, their front left tires, they look close to the same. Talon's a bit lower, so I expect Talon to come in within the next couple of laps. Banana, the same, but he'll be able to go for another lap or two.
Looks like we've got a yellow flag. I'm not sure what happened.
It was Zilla. He must have gone wide, I'm guessing, and maybe lost
I think
it.
McNaughty's parking it for the day.
Well, and I think TK had mentioned it last night. There are so many things that have to go right for you to win a race. Speaking of, we see somebody running off there. Was that Papa Oso? I think it was. Oh, that was still Zilla. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It wasn't quite Leo's jump, but it was a jump nonetheless.
I'm not sure what happened, but Talon lost about 0.7 of a second in that first sector on this lap.
Well, maybe a combination of the lap traffic there with Zilla, and obviously his tires are getting pretty bad. So,
yeah, so
that's the initial question, right? When are they making that stop? How many laps? When do you make the stop? Are you going to another set of mediums? What is the next tire?
Yeah,
and I apologize. I didn't have a tire tracker, so I can't tell you if anybody hasn't met their requirements yet.
I think Papa.
As far as I know, I can confirm that Banana still has to make a stop because he did 2 sets of hards.
Hards, right? Okay.
Talon is pulling into the pits.
Talon's in.
I suspect that at this point he can do another.
Papa also will. And I think Slowpoke was right behind him there. Okay.
Could see
Here comes
some new
Slick, and he is going to stay out.
But curious if we'll see anyone else at fastest lap. Now that we're approaching the end game.
Yeah, getting down to the bitter end. Obviously, they're getting some fresh set of tires on the rides here for the closing of the race.
Talon and Papa also, they both came out on mediums as well as Slowpoke.
Yeah, they're on.
Okay.
So it'll just be a matter of whose tires will last.
Yeah, Papa having no trouble getting up next door to Slick and just making that move.
Yeah, imagine Slick will just not fight it because his tire is on his way out.
Yeah, it did look like he yielded the inside of the turn there and let Papa Oso slide through.
He knows this isn't his race.
All right, Banana pulling into the pits now. Talon's he's actually gonna. He might be able to undercut with those fresh mediums. Let's take a look to see if Banana will end up. He was about 2.5 seconds behind.
He'll be close.
Or in front of Talon.
Banana's rolling. Talon is.
He's
not gonna drive by him. Okay.
So it's
maintains his lead with his strategy. Very well done.
Yeah, he's close. So it's definitely not over. But he'll.
So Banana's going to be coming up on lap traffic in a few corners. It's just 1.5 seconds ahead of Talon, so at this point it's just going to be a straight shootout to the finish with these two.
Yeah, and that is Zilla ahead of them, so
it'll be a matter of who can set consistent laps. Sure, you can put in a quick lap, but if the other laps are slower, then that could work out for whoever is more consistent.
Zilla
gets out of the way of both drivers.
Yeah. Yep, well played there. Good sportsmanship. Letting Talon and Banana continue their fight for the lead here. Talon is, it seems like he is just playing it nice and smooth and really just hitting his apexes, trying to focus on the fundamentals to get himself caught up with Banana,
Yeah.
and it's working. As you look at that delta just drop ever so
he-
slightly.
He improved his purple, and now he's got a 112.813.
Slowpoke Rods ended up putting up a personal best lap there. Just kind of going through the field here. We're on with P6 Slick, who is just a little bit ahead of Fredbird, just over a second.
And Talon's on another purple lap.
Banana is also on a purple lap. He just went purple by 0.4 of a second.
Oof.
And Talon is what, just under 2 seconds behind Banana. He's been putting up some really solid laps, but obviously Banana is too, as you see Banana purple.
Banana's on a flyer right now.
Yeah, Talon is losing a touch.
His PB so far is at 13.5, so he needs to make up a lot of time in this one to try and take purple from Talon.
And will he do it? He looks like he's got a pretty good lap going here. He will. 12.473. So he will take away the fastest lap from Talon and continue to maintain his lead, tacking on points as he goes. Every lap led adds up in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, most laps led and fastest laps going to be a pretty big points haul for him if he can hold on to this.
Right, not to mention the points you get for leading each lap. So that will add up quick for Team BMW.
And his tire's still doing pretty good, so I don't think he's going to chew up the tire quick enough for Talon to catch up unless Banana makes a mistake.
That is also very possible. And, if you watch that gap between Talon and Banana, it maybe kind of moves a little bit from where it's at now, closer to the 2-second mark, but you're not seeing it change a whole lot from that. Just a little bit of accordion as they go into enter and exit turns.
And the one disadvantage with the undercut is that you have worse tires. You'll have worse tires than your opponent unless your opponent absolutely destroys their tires. But right now it looks like Banana's doing pretty well to maintain his tires. They're marginally better than Talon, but that he's just going to carry that advantage until the end of the race as long as he keeps driving this way.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing, it's fluctuating between 1.6 and 1.9 between the two of them, depending on where they're at.
Okay.
Yeah, Banana can control the pace. He can control the tire wear. If he needs to push, he can. If he needs to cool down, he can.
And as we watch the battle here between, I think that was 8 and 9 as we see SPC going into the pits. So here we have 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Fredbird in P6. Yep. Slick in P7.
Slick's got a slight tire advantage, so might be able to threaten Angry Fredbird in these last 2.5 laps.
Yeah, the thing that Fredbird has working for him is the Genesis, because that's all he has good acceleration. But yeah, their tires does tend to be paramount, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to bet, I would bet that we're going to see a drag race from those two here in the next lap or two to go down the straight and take that P6 away. I would imagine Slick's going to try and close on Fredbird as soon as humanly possible. Just under a half second. You see him close in a little bit. Let's see how they get out of the turn one.
Final corner. Looks like Angry Fredbird got out of the last corner better.
Slick's got a good slipstream with it. But to your point, Fredbird had a really good exit. Just maintaining that position. Ah, boy, you got to put the wide body kit on that Genesis right now, Fredbird.
We got Johnny Boy from P8 pitting. He's pitting for fresh and mediums. I think he's going to try to take fastest lap.
He's going to sauce. Yep, that would be the move if I was in that spot. Yep, that's a good move.
And that was a smart pit stop because he managed to stay in 8th, so he took advantage of that pit delta, was able to stay in front of SPC.
And we are sticking with the battle for 6 and 7 right now as the rest of the field is a little bit spread out. You'll see there that Fredbird has still about a half second on Slick and is trying to maintain his position.
Yep.
Moving up to the leaders, we have Talon, who is about a second and a half, a little bit over that from Banana. So
Yeah.
that is obviously we see that gap growing just ever so slightly.
Yeah, he's trying to keep Banana honest, but yeah, it can't be hard to beat that BMW.
Yeah, their lap times for the last few laps have been nearly identical. A 10th here, 10th there. There's hardly any change in the gap.
Yeah, these two are putting on a very, very good execution of how it's done out here today. Banana keeping it nice and tight.
Okay. And we got close.
I don't see any dirt coming up.
So we got Johnny quarters to navigate. SPC fighting. But yeah, looks like it's going to be Bananas if he don't make anything. Yeah, looks.
Yep, Banana comes around the last turn. He does get his tires in the dirt just a hair. They wave the checkered flag. Banana is going to win our split 2 today with Talon coming in second. Papa Oso coming around to claim his P3. Slowpoke right behind him there for P4. Here comes Rick Shear around down our straight. I was going to say last turn, but he's past there.
Oh.
Rick Shear for P5.
On Johnny Boy, he went personal best in the first sector. Ooh. Second sector, he is purple by 700s, so he's close.
And Fredbird was able to hold Slick off and maintain his position there as we go to Johnny Boy on those softs.
All right, will he be able to take?
Last turn, tires
SPC going wide in the final corner, also trying to take fastest lap.
And
he will not. 12.728 personal best, but not fast enough to take it from Banana.
Right.
And looks like we're getting a replay of Cole coming around for his last turn, trying to get fastest lap. You see him creeping over to the right, just gets wide a little bit, and does a good job to maintain the car's control, get it back on track, and finish with a P9.
Okay.
Well executed race today.
Oui.
We saw Banana show us how it is done. And another BMW win here. Wow.
Yeah, I was a little surprised at the strat, the hard, medium. I really thought that if, like you mentioned earlier, Slow-Mo, if there was going to be a 2-stop, it would have been 2 medium stints. But yeah, he made the 2 hard stints work for him. I'm impressed, honestly.
Yeah, as I said earlier, it doesn't seem like something I would do, but that doesn't mean it's not the play. He was able to push on those hards, and you get extra laps out of him with the tire wear so high. That appeared to be a great strategy. Obviously, just over a second and a half, closer to 2 seconds away from P2. So he did what had to be done. PHG Banana, congratulations on your race win today.
Yeah. It was a good race in that one. Once Banana got on the mediums, then he was like, let me take my fastest lap.
That's right. And Tism, do you mind taking us through our final results here?
Sure thing. In first place, the PHG Banana, race time of 31:11.581. He also takes fastest lap with a 1:12.473. Talon was P2, just about 2 seconds behind. And final podium position was taken by Papa Oso, about 12.5 seconds back. Slowpoke in the Porsche, 14.3 seconds back. Rick Shear in the Corvette finishes P5, 23.5 seconds behind. Angry Fredbird, after starting in last, ends up finishing in P6, 32 seconds back. PHG Slick in P7, and BHR Johnny Boy in P8, almost 51 seconds behind P1. Then we have PHG SPC, 52.5 seconds back in P9. And our final finisher was RSR Zilla. He ended up 1 lap behind Unfortunately, DNFs from McNaughty and Corn Identity.
Yeah, tough finish for McNaughty and Corn there, but we've said it obviously on both broadcasts. So many things have to go right to win. So let's talk driver of the split. Mr. Casual, how about you?
Um, yeah, it's a tough one because you had both Banana and Talon be consistent. And I guess, I guess I'll go with. It's a tough one, but I guess uh, I'm going to go with Fredbird for my driver.
And
Oh,
now I have to think of another one because that's who I was going to say.
is that
You can
right? Okay.
pick
Yeah,
Fredbird
like
if you
he's
want.
start going from P12 up into P6. That was a really good drive. Um, uh, so as a backup, I'm gonna take the easy way out, and I'm gonna go with the winner, Banana. Again, that is a bit of a unorthodox strat, one that I wouldn't have went for, but again, he did the practice. He knew what his tires were capable of, and he made it work really well for him.
I think it's funny. It sounds like all three of us had the exact same thought, and I normally wouldn't choose Fredbird unless he was like a race winner, because, well, obviously,
Yeah.
that's family, right? But I think that was my driver of the day. If you're gonna make me pick a second, I guess I'd probably have to go Talon. I think he did a very, very good job keeping up with Banana, who really put down some solid laps. Banana's obviously always the easy choice. He's our winner there, but
Yeah.
12th to 6th, I think that's a solid showing amongst the talent that we saw on track here for Fredbird. So I am going to go Fredbird.
And I'm going to chime in real quick and throw out Papa Oso moving up into P3, making the what looked like the most difficult car to drive, that Lamborghini, look really good, only finishing 12 seconds behind. So I'm going to chime in just real quick for Papa Oso.
Yeah, I think that's a good call there. Thank you, T Case. Good to hear you, buddy. So T Case is obviously back there doing our production for us. Again, congratulations. That was a very good race by everybody. We saw a lot of activity, a lot of action, some good clean passing. Unfortunately, we did see a couple drivers that really had some tough goes. But that's racing. You get another chance next race. So these guys live for that. Fantastic race. Tusm, did you have something?
No, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I thought I heard somebody coming in. Okay, very good. We're going to take ourselves a quick break. I'm going to go back here and hit some of this charcuterie that PHG provides for us here in the booth. This stuff is fantastic. But we will be right back after this short break. So hang tight, refresh your beverages, and we'll be right back with another great race.
Wheels burn on the track. PHG is where it's at. Roads long and winding, but our team's always grinding. Underneath the starry sky, engines roar, we fly. Sweat beading on our brow. Teamwork's the key right now. We win together, rain or shine. PSG forever, crossing the line. Gasoline and fire, chasing every desire. Around the curves we go. Teamwork keeps our flow. Every gear we shift feels like a gift. Speeding down the lane, victories in our name. We win together, rain or shine. PSG forever, crossing the line. feels like a gift, speeding down the lane. Victory's in our name. We win together, rain or shine. PHG forever, crossing the line. Wheels burn on the track. PHG is where it's at. Roads long and winding, but our team's always grinding. Underneath the starry sky, engines roar, we fly. Sweat beading on our brow. Teamwork's the key right now. We win together, rain or shine. PSG forever, crossing the line. Gasoline and fire, chasing every desire. Around the curves we go. Teamwork keeps our flow. Every gear we shift feels like a gift, speeding down the lane. Victory's in our name. We win together, rain or shine. PSG forever, crossing the line. Gasoline and fire, chasing every desire. Around the curves we go. Teamwork keeps our flow. Every gear we shift feels like a gift, speeding down the lane. Victory's in our name. We win together, rain or shine. PSG forever, crossing the line. Wheels burn on the track. PHG is where it's at. Roads long and winding, but our team's always grinding. Underneath the starry sky, engines roar, we fly. Sweat beading on our brow. Teamwork's the key right now. We win together, rain or shine. PSG forever, crossing the line. Gasoline and fire, chasing every desire. Around the curves we go. Teamwork keeps our flow. Every gear we shift feels Around the curves we go. Teamwork keeps our flow. Every gear we shift feels like a gift. Speeding down the lane. Victory's in our name. We win together, rain or shine. PHG forever, crossing the line. Wheels burn on the track. PHG is where it's at. Roads long and winding, but our team's always grinding. Underneath the starry sky, engines roar, we fly. Sweat beading on our brow. Teamwork's the key right now. We win together, rain or shine. PSG.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Slow Mo. We are here for the last split of our round 3 for the PHG World Series. I am joined by my co-host today, Mr. Tuzzenbox and Mr. Casual. Mr. Tuzzenbox, I don't know why I call you Mr. It's probably because Casual's. So, Tuzzum, what are your thoughts after watching that first race?
Yeah,
We closed out talking about a couple things.
As expected, the tires, they played really big part in that race. There were some unfortunate incidents that ended a few racers early, or ended a few racers race early. But yeah, I think a lot of that race was just like, it was like more like a game of chess. Like a lot of drivers just like not making too many moves, just really focus on conserving their tires and really trying to stick to their strats.
Yeah, absolutely. And I, in the break, I got a couple texts from Fred and, said how much fun that was and how excited he was to have a good race and a good show. So that strategy plays out in every one of these races. And we've talked about it before. Mr. Casual, I know you're a strategy guy. After seeing what we've seen there, do you think anybody's going to bring anything new to the table here in the fourth split?
Fourth split, um, I'm wondering if anyone will dare to try to do one lap on hards and two on medium, 2 cents of mediums. But we've been seeing the leaders been doing 2 hards and then mediums. So, but yeah, with this final one, I guess they're probably going to be trying to keep it on the flat stuff because, as you can see, if you can keep it on the flat stuff, you'll be in a good spot.
Yeah, I agree. And, I think we talked about a little bit during qualification that if you almost had to get your tires in the dirt to get that lower time where as you see these guys on the mediums and that doesn't always play out the way you'd like it to. So getting your car unsettled, maybe it has something to do with the slipstream, could be dirty air. Who knows exactly what causes it? But boy, in race, getting your tires in the dirt seems to be a lot of trouble, unless you're just kind of dipping a toe and touching a couple granulars there. Staring at the beach is better than being on it in this one for sure. And this track is a handful, to say the least. It's not the hardest track in the world. There's not 1,000 turns, but the ones that are there, some of them are off camber. The car is trying to, go the opposite way from where you want it to go, and you gotta have some finesse to get around this guy. Tuzzum, what are your thoughts here for the split four? Anything you think that these guys could surprise us by doing?
Honestly, I think if we're going to see any crazy pitch strategies, this would be the split to do it. Um, no, people might be experimenting with some other stuff. I don't know, but yeah, I really think like this is going to be a completely unpredictable race as far as the strategy goes.
I got to be honest, I had the exact same thought. Let's take a look at our round info here for our fourth split. Mr. Casual, do you mind running us through the round info?
Yeah, sure thing. So, obviously, we're in round 3 at Willow Springs Big Willow. And basically, if you've never raced there before, you have more than enough sand to make sand cat. We're going around Big Willow 25 times, and tire wear is at ×5, and all tires are available, but you are required to use hards and mediums. And our fuel is ×2, so that's not really a factor. And we're in Group 3 machinery.
Very good. Thank you very much, sir. And Willow Springs is one of those you love it or you hate it. So we see some people that are on both sides of that. Tism, do you mind taking us through our drivers? Split 4, please.
All right, so for today's race, we have Captain Howdy GT for Team McLaren, PhD Stiggy in the Alpha, PhG Strict 9 in the Nissan, PhG It's Just Carl driving for Genesis, BHR Fernando B driving for Chevy, AGRT Chase in AMG, PhG Nasty driving for Team Ford, McNervy PhD driving for Hyundai, T. Calvert driving for Team BMW, Craig driving for Porsche, PHG KW47 driving for Dodge, McBugle Fingers driving for Ford, Big Joe 603 driving for Team Alpha, PhD Skellington driving for Chevrolet, and finally Real Shanman 92 driving for Team Toyota.
It's certainly a good mix of manufacturers there, and also a good representation from our American manufacturers in Split 4. So these guys will certainly be trying to represent their manufacturers, bring as many points to the tally as possible. We've talked about strategy. We've talked about all the different things that can happen. Really, the only thing left to do is to get these guys on track, let them qualify for the position, and get to racing. So I think they are still getting our lobby set. I'm not sure. It looks like we've got a couple of spots there that might need to be filled. So any of you drivers out there, if you're listening, jump on in, get us set up. In the meantime, be sure to like T-Case's stream. T-Case is doing our production today. Big shout out to Mr. T-Case. Wonderful job behind the scenes. Like his channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you're interested in getting into the PHG World Series, we can have somebody drop a link there in chat for you. It is pinned in the chat. So all you need to do is go to that chat. You'll see the pinned message. That will take you to the PHG website, which will give you all the information you need, whether it be the Discord, the YouTube, the series itself, and how to get in. It is not too late to join. You can join any week you want. You can run 1 week. You can run all the weeks that are left. Totally up to you. We'd love to have you. I think you're going to see some people jumping in as this progresses, myself included. I am just chomping at the bit to get in here and run some races with folks. I hope I could even compete with some of these guys in Split 4. So that'd be my goal. Looks like we've got the grid set. I think we are going to be going to track in just 1 second to see how qualifying pans out. Obviously, these guys are all going to be running soft on quality. 2 laps seems to be about what anybody has gotten out of those tires. So, I can't imagine anybody pushes too much further than that. What I am excited to see, and Tism, you mentioned it, if you're going to see any unorthodox strategies, I think this is the group you will see them out of. I would not be surprised to see a couple of these guys setting up a lap on softs to try and put the fastest lap down and gain some points for their team. So they are setting our lobby and are ready to hit the track and quality laps in. They have 10 minutes to qualify. So this is their best single lap for qualification that will then set our starting grid for the race. Just looking down the list, do you guys have any particular favorites or anybody you're thinking to work closely on this split?
Well, I always love McLaren, so I'll always have a soft spot for that. Let's see. Curiously, don't see any BMW. I guess. Yeah. I guess in Howdy, will if he can stay consistent, I think he could maybe possibly do a one stop, but never turn your nose up at a McLaren. If you're in a tire wear race, it's a good one.
Yeah, and don't forget we've got our fellow comms guy, Big Joe, there running the C.
It's ironic that his name is Big Joe and he's in that little 4C.
Yeah. Yeah, Tism, anybody you've got your eye on for this particular race?
I don't know. Like so I'm a big fan of the McLaren F1, but I know the Group 3 McLaren F1 is garbage. So whenever I see someone in the McLaren, I'm always thinking that just for like my own personal sake, I always say that they're in the wrong McLaren. So yeah, I'll go with Captain Howdy GT and the other. I'm calling this the other McLaren.
Okay. Well, and if our production can keep the camera on this particular driver, back one if you would. Yep, It's Just Carl is the guy that I actually have my eye on. I think he is definitely somebody to watch. We saw the Genesis is viable here. It's got potential, and I tell you what, I know It's Just Carl runs a lot of laps, so he would be the guy I would tell you it could be a dark horse on this one. And also, I might be sticking my foot in my mouth, but I called out It's Just Carl and challenged him to a 1-versus-1. So we're going to see how that goes out in the coming weeks. That may be happening with our race if we can coordinate all the logistics on that. So we're going to have production run through, so you can take a look at their liveries. There's a nice PHG on Jack Skellington's Corvette. Strychnine running that's a pretty sharp PHG livery. I like that one. Little W action on Big Joe and that little 40 you mentioned. Depending upon how big he is, that might be tough for him to get in.
Yeah, it's like God help you if you're big and tall and you get a 4C.
And we're looking at Josh there in the Ford GT. There is our Mercedes vehicle, the Mountain Dew Dorito vehicle. Check that. Craig running the Porsche. And there's Mr. Stiggy.
And we got Carl coming up to Major Payne, aka the right-hander of Doom.
It looks like he's going to be the first to cross the line and set our initial threshold for our quali session.
He's approaching the right-hand last section of it here. Couple tires in the dirt. Looks like he had a really good exit there. And our first lap is going to be at 1:14.098.
Okay.
And we look back. Carl resets the pits, gets some fresh rubber. Captain Howdy puts up a little bit of a quicker time on that.
Okay.
Still some folks
to come through. This was just pointed out by somebody in chat. Talon said that Strychnine is actually in the 2013 GTR, not the 2018.
Oh, is that right? Okay. Interesting choice.
Is indeed in the 2013 car. Wonder if he meant to, because there was that time where PD basically nerfed all the older cars in favor for the rare newer cars they actually put into the game.
Yeah, so, the only other thought that came to mind is, did he do some testing and decided that one's better on tires? Maybe it plays into the strategy he wants to execute a little bit better. I guess that could be a potential theory there, but we may not know until we hear back. So that's interesting.
Talon saying that he ran the 2013 at the Nords round as well. So
maybe personal preference.
Maybe.
Okay. And we are currently on board with our pole leader, Captain Howdy, going into the pits to get himself some fresh tires. It's Just Carl seems to be staying in second place right now. We'll see. They have, another 6 minutes to put up some more laps. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this grid shuffle around a little bit more before we're done.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Oh, Yeti got it wrong coming out of the final corner.
Yeah.
Yeti's in the Lambo, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Literally, your first question needs to be, okay, did X person die? I was like, yes. I was like, all right, were they in the Lambo?
Right.
Condolences, by the way, to Matt Naughty in Split 2. I was like, yeah, that just looked like no fun.
Yeah, we're watching It's Just Carl come through this back section here, down the straight.
Oh, he's purple.
And he is up, coming into
nearly 2/10. So
the major pain. As he starts in, trying to find his apex here towards the end of the turn.
Oh, there you go.
A little bit outside. I don't think he was able to hold that. No.
Dang.
Yeah, right.
He's going to be kicking himself for that one.
Yep, and he kicked himself right to the pits is what he did. We'll take another look at that. He's coming around here, and you're looking inside, and boy, that car just would not get in there for him. He looked like he was still on the steering input as he was coming out of the dirt, and that's not a good combo. Jumping on board with Josh.
I was going to say we got Strick about to set a new time. Is it better? No.
15.4. No, that one's not gonna move him too far up. On board with Big Joe as he comes across. Stiggy getting a little bit steady there, down near the beach, man.
A good thing that's just an out lap. He'll still be able to clean off his tires and go for another hot lap after this.
Yep, we're taking a look, and I don't know what happened there. Maybe he sneezed. Who knows?
Howdy's.
He was getting out of the way of a fast lap there. Okay.
So Howdy's purple, and he was up 4/10 going into major pain.
And we jump on board with Howdy.
All right.
Making a nice exit there on the turn. That speed's climbing very nicely to get himself across the finish line with a 1:13.674. That is going to strengthen his lead over It's Just Carl by just a touch.
That's our first 13 in the lobby so far.
Yeah, and with this being split 4, these guys, they are not splits 1, 2, or 3, but make no mistakes that these guys are still very skilled, talented drivers. To expect to just jump in the game and be able to perform like these guys are is unrealistic. These guys are still very, very good. Yeah, and so just so everybody knows, the way these splits are set up, there are qualifying sessions that occur through the week. Normally 2 days worth of qualifying. Drivers are come out and run individual laps. I don't believe there's anybody on track. I haven't attended any of the qualifying sessions, but I think they get the track to themselves. If there is anybody out there, they're certainly mindful of who's running the hot lap. So they're able to kind of have free run of the track and put up their best times. That is how they determine which split these guys will race in. That way they're able to keep the splits competitive.
He got 13.798. So he's just over a tenth behind Howdy.
And we're on board with Josh, who's purple there going into major pain. Major pain in the right-hand turn. And he's looking at the apex here. Looks like he got through that nice and clean. Gaining great speed there on the straight. 12, 13... 13.7 puts him up into second. That is very close. What was that? 3 1,000ths off our lead?
About a tenth. I'm showing 93 thousandths.
We're jumping on board Yeti, who looks like he had bit of an experience with major pain. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks
Into the
like
barrier.
the Lambo experience.
Yeah, all right.
Strict 9 just went off on his final flying lap, so his best case scenario, he's going to be starting in 4th.
Okay.
Right.
I was getting ready to ask Mr. Casual's question, but I already know Strict 9. Did somebody die? Was he in the Lambo? And there it is. Basically the same experience we saw from the Lambo. Oh no, that's a different section. Excuse me.
Yeah, we got a new P4. We got Craig. He improved. He got I think it's a 14.114, I think, if my math is right.
And these guys have about 20 seconds left in qualifying. If they can get across the start-finish within that next 20, they can close out that lap.
All right, Big Joe, why don't you do your fellow commentator some good?
I'm looking at Yeti. He's going to be even closer than Talon was.
Nice.
Big Joe takes your advice and moves himself up to 6th position.
With 14.881.
Yeti made it with 1 second left, so he'll get one more lap.
Okay, and it looks like Yeti is going to be the last one to cross the start-finish there. In the Lambo, of course. So hopefully he can get a nice smooth lap in. We ride aboard.
It looks like this
Yeti.
is his second hot lap on those softs, so I don't think. Well, he did. All right, as soon as I said that, he did set a PB, so he's 2 tenths faster than his current personal best. So I'll stop talking. I'll let him drive.
Stay on track, Yeti. Stay on track. All right, there we go. And here, you want to get over to the right?
Yeah.
Hey, so you position for this left. Well done.
Right.
Well done.
Yeah, I think,
he runs off a little bit.
Yeah, Yeti and Joe are our last ones.
We're going to stay with Yeti here as he will be the last person to cross the start-finish.
Mm-hmm. And Joe go dip some toes into the sand.
The Yeti is going to as well. Yes. Well done to keep that Lamborghini under control coming out of that dirt. And he will not improve. Okay. So we have our starting grid set. Well done by these guys here. You know, we didn't see too much of the traffic issues on this qualifying like we did in some of the previous splits. So these guys really seem to do a good job to space out and just kind of give themselves some room. I think their biggest challenge here was fighting with the Sandman out there.
Apparently, YouTube's rewarding Howdy because I seen Howdy got gifted a membership. So he not only got pole, he got a free membership as well.
How about that? Big shout out to Papa for gifting membership out there. Papa, the proprietor. We love you, Papa. All right. So here are our starting grid positions. We've got Captain Howdy starting in P1. Josh 76 starting in P2. It's just Carl P3. Craig in P4. Strict 9 in P5. Big Joe in P6. Yeti starting in P7. Skellington will be starting in P8. Tangy starting in P9 with PHG Stiggy starting in P10 for us. So, pretty good qualifying from these guys. You know, if you look at those times there, those are very strong. I can tell you personally, I ran a couple practice laps here, and I was like 118, 117. I went, yeah, I'm probably not racing. I don't want to make a fool out of myself. So these guys, whew, that's strong. Whew.
Yeah, I think Howdy might be under attack because as good as McLaren is on tires, it suffers in acceleration. So he might be under attack at the beginning. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, to that point, if you look at the first two and maybe even the third car there, you know, the GT, the Genesis, and the 911, I think all three of those are pretty solid with their acceleration. So to your point, in the Nismo, even in P5, boy, this is going to be an exciting spot. Yeti putting himself in P7 in that dangerous Hurricane. Woo! Boy, I got my fingers crossed that he has a good race here. After seeing the qualifying, does that change any of your guys' predictions?
For me, absolutely not. I just
No.
blindly went with Team McLaren. They're on pole.
Okay. Yep.
Let's go McLaren.
Same. Yeah. Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
that question lies: Will McLaren put up a 1-stop, 2-stop? All right. And drivers are on track. We are going to join the race here as they get ready to begin.
Spicy.
This is a rolling start, so these guys are going to get rolling here. As they cross the start-finish line, the race will start here.
Josh is starting on mediums behind Howdy.
So only a couple guys on medium. Green light, the wheels are rolling.
All right.
And we are going to watch from P1 looking back on the field. You'll see Josh, and it's just Carl. Craig closely in tow. Everybody seems to line up. I think we have a little bit of a position change.
Someone went off.
Uh-oh. See if we can figure out who went off. We're going to stay with this lead group for just a second. And it looks like, to your guys' point, Howdy is under attack. Absolutely. Josh is right there. It doesn't look like he's going to relent too much pace.
Howdy. Oh, no.
Howdy. Running wide. That is not a good way to get into that section.
Oh, Craig is off. He just spun from P3.
Craig's gone off.
Lambo,
okay. We're on board with Howdy as he's coming into this section here. I think he just outbroke himself.
Replay. After this, Yeti dies there as well.
Okay. Wow. And let's see. We're on board with Howdy, who is now back in P8. Wow, that's a tough start. There is Josh, who has taken over P1 with just over 2-second lead over It's Just Carl.
Yeah.
Strict 9 is closely in tow behind Carl. They're in P3. And we'll see Big Joe up to 4. Big Joe wants that driver of the day.
Yeah.
He wants to make that comeback. He wants that podium. He wants the win. And a good view there of all 3 cars. Skellington not far behind them in P5.
Yeah, Josh is by himself at the moment, but we'll see if... Oh, no.
Oh, Craig goes off again. Craig running off. And let's see, where is he?
Carried too much speed?
Yeah, carried too much speed. It looked like he didn't quite turn in early enough. He just wasn't quite ready for that. And that'll drop him back to P9. Back with Tangy back there.
This might be the final split, but it certainly hasn't been born.
No, it has not. Back up to the front. There goes our leader into the dirt. And that is going to be trouble for him.
Oh.
Let's take a look. That Ford is fast. He's outside. Looks like he's trying to get it turned in. Oh, if you watch his steering input, he turned right and the car just didn't go. So just a little bit too quick into that turn.
So he's all right.
Our new leader, It's Just Carl. With Strict 9 right behind him. And that is not somebody I want to see in my review.
Starting to turn into, no, you win the race. No, you win the race. No, you win.
This is a race of attrition here.
Yeah, it's definitely has been spicy in these first couple of laps.
Watch these guys go through the back section of the track. Coming down on this tough left-hander.
Okay.
And you get a good look at the back. I call it the back straight. It's straight, right? Yeah, and you get to see a good look of the Chevy and the Ford. Two American classics.
Josh going to have the advantage with the medium tires. So I imagine he's going to want to try to get in front of that Corvette as soon as he can.
Oh, he runs wide again. No problem. Carried good speed. No issues on that. All right. I think that's what he was trying to do last time and just couldn't quite get the car turned in when he wanted. So he is definitely there in the split of Skellington. You can see him closing that gap ever so slightly coming up into turn 1. Skellington's going to... Looks like... I don't know that he's driving defensive. It looks like he's just hitting his marks at this point.
Yeah.
He is a little wide there. And looks like Josh is purple through this lap here. On the mediums.
Okay.
Skellington staying inside on that turn. That's going to push him out a little bit. Yep. And, Josh tries to see if there's a door open. Is that contact?
It looked like there might have been a bump.
He might have given him a little love tap. Yeah. We're going to get to take another look. It'd be right here. Coming into this turn.
Yeah,
bit. I think there was a touch of contact. No damage. No harm, no foul. Skellington was able to keep himself on track. That's an easy place to get yourself lost into no man's land. And those two going down the straight. Whoa, here we go. Josh making a move on the inside. That tire advantage going into turn 1. And he's going to close that door and be able to keep that spot from Mr. Jack Skellington for just a bit.
All right.
We get another look at it. Here we go. Yeah, he just drove right by him on the straight. Just pulled the split, went inside. That was smooth. Using all the track he can to get around turn 1.
It's just Carl. He's pulled out a 3-second gap over strict 9.
We're going to take a look at Yeti and the battle for P6 here with Howdy closely in tow. We obviously know Howdy has the potential to put up strong laps as he started in pole and Yeti, the curse of the Lambo, off into the dust. And we're going to go to a quick replay of that. Here is a view.
Yeah.
Every time I look right or left, all I see is sand. Watch out.
And it was like,
here it goes. Okay. Yeah.
And he does like a little jump for Leo at the end. Whee!
Woo! Leo hop. Right now, Leo's watching going, that ain't no hop. That's weak. Back
so we got a close
on board
battle for
with...
P4. As soon as I said it, Big Joe goes
announcer's
wide.
curse is strong in 4, unfortunately.
He is miles off track.
He was. And we're going to get a quick replay of what happened there. So there goes Skellington.
Yeah.
Down the inside, Big Joe is trying to pull a little bit of a switcheroo on him, and
he just
no track
carries
there.
too much.
Yep. Ran out of space. And takes a tour over there and a wave at the crowd. Big Joe comes out of that trouble in P7, so not terrible, but I'm sure he wanted a little better. Jumping on board with our leader, it's just Carl. He is he's 4.2 seconds
Strict
up.
9's going wide.
Look at that delta just included. Getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Strict 9 with that issue. And we'll take a look at what happened to Strict 9 going into Major Pain.
Yeah.
He's on the left-hand side, and he's trying to make it go right, and it will. No, you got to start early. Got to start early. That is such a tricky turn.
And this track is claiming so many souls today.
It is. It is. Not just Lamborghinis, right?
Like the margins of error here. It's like you have tarmac, you have maybe like 6 inches of curb, and then you have sand. Just sand everywhere. Absolutely no runoff. Like, your driving has to be precise.
Yeah, and I mean, you get 1 pixel over into the sand, and it could be trouble.
Looks like we should, at the rate we're going, we need to watch Carl so that he makes a mistake.
Well,
He's probably...
We are on board with our battle of 3rd and 2nd position between Strict 9 and Josh. You see Strict 9 there, trying to get him, so see if he can get around Major Pain without issue time. I'm sure he's going to be a little cautious after that last one.
Mm-hmm. And honorable mention, I see Howdy's back up to 5th place after his excursion.
Yeah, Howdy is trying to make his presence known again. Yeah, Jack seems to also be closing here on our battle for 2 and 3. I don't know if those guys really are battling too much, but they're certainly giving Jack an opportunity to sneak up. And Big Joe going into the pits. I was just getting ready to say, we're going to see some drivers dipping into the pits here any time now. Big Joe being the first, he's going to give himself a fresh set of rubbers. There is Captain Howdy moving back to Yeti. So those are 5 and 6. P7 is Craig, PHG. And Big Joe is currently in 8th position.
And Carlos leads up to 11 seconds now.
I'll tell you, Carl's tires are looking pretty good, all in all considered. He did start on the hard, so, you know, he's... I mean, I think we talked about it. I personally would think a lot of these guys are running 2 stops. I just don't see anybody here doing a 1 stop. It doesn't...
I think, keep an eye on Howdy in the 650. I was like,
Strict 9 is going to dip into the pits.
Ooh.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, Strict
A little
is
surprised
indeed
that
in.
Josh
Will we
didn't
go
come
hard
because
or will we go medium?
His mediums, his front left is almost done.
Strict does another percent, so he's doing hard, medium.
Strict goes hard. Okay. Well, we certainly saw Banana make that work in the previous split, so he's going to try and follow suit there. And there you can see the delta between P2 and P3 being just about 2 seconds. Skellington is trying to close that.
And you can see,
and Captain Howdy is up to 4.
Yeah. Never
talk about a comeback.
On a good MR car. It's like even when they make mistakes, it's like they're MR, so they're always within a good shout.
Howdy is making a strong comeback.
Unless it happens to be at Lambo, and then
right.
by that definition, it's like you already know what you're in for.
And we see our leader going into the pits, kind of come off. Okay. Well, I don't know. He might stay on that hard compound. Let's see what he does.
Yeah.
Are we going to stay with... We're going to stay with the leader as he gets his pit change done. He stays on the hard.
Josh is in the pits too.
Yeah, Josh jumps in right behind him. Skellington is staying out for at least, probably only another lap. Looking at that front lap, that's pretty rough in that Corvette. Last thing you want in a Corvette is lack of traction. And
after lap
look
1,
who is up to P3.
Going to be back on the podium, but there he is.
Yeah. Started pole, had a really tough first lap, and has now fought his way back up into P3. He is on the hard compound, so.
Okay.
And he has not pit yet.
Pretty good tire wear on lap 10 with the hards.
It really is.
Because I forget if it was split 1 or 3, but we basically saw something like that. It was, I think, Fax Cougar that did it. He did a 1 stop.
Yeah, you're right, that was.
That's why I had picked McLaren, besides my fanboyism.
And as we're looking
for a way around this Chevrolet.
That's right. He is looking for any spot. And, we know Skellington's going to go into the pits. Oh, is there contact? You push him off track. Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just a
friendly reminder for him to get into pits. I don't know that I would have enjoyed being in that Corvette when it happened.
You weren't here yesterday, but we had a number of drivers basically had their front left die, and they just go wide right into the pits.
Yeah, I did see that on the replay, and boy, that is exactly what happens once that front is gone. That last section of the big hurt is just no. So we are back on board with Strict 9 in P3. Okay. You'll see Captain Howdy has moved up to P2.
Yeah.
It's just
He's still doing a pit stop though. He's still on that initial set of hards. So I'm kind of at this point expecting he's going to stretch those hards to maybe do a 1 stop to mediums.
Yeah, because he looks like he has at least minimum another 3 laps on that tire. So.
Yeah, he is doing a very good job. Being mindful of that tire wear. It's interesting. it doesn't seem like he's pushing too hard, although he has our fastest lap of the race at a 1:14.684. So,
Yeah.
he did that on hards. We've had guys that are running mediums. He's still holding the fastest lap there. So,
Yeah,
you
so
certainly cannot count him out yet.
Yeah, and shout out to the Wonder Bread sported by the great Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby.
Take a break.
I think he's actually even got a little ode to "If you're not first, you're last" on the bumper there. So
yeah,
well
I
done
seen
livery
on
there.
his wing it says "shake and bake."
And moving over to Strychnine and Josh here for P3 and 4. There's a little gap there. I mean, that's almost 2 seconds. Coming into the Major Pain right-hand turn. Strychnine doing it nice and clean. Can he keep it on? I think he did. I saw no dust.
Yeah, but
No
seems
dust
to have
up.
settled down for the time being.
I would agree, and it looks like our field's spread out just a little bit. As we see the curse of the Lambo there. Job maintaining to that. Just a little wide. Turning in from the 100. Yeah, watch the steering inputs.
Oop.
He doesn't really move too much.
That was
And
a
then
really
he
good
does.
save.
That was a very good
Sweet.
save. I would have ruined that 10 out of 10 times. We have Craig making a pit stop there. Jumping on board with, we moved from Big Joe to Craig. No, wait, I thought Craig was pit stopping. He's out. He's out on mediums. Fresh set.
Jeez.
There is our Big Joe, our colleague,
Yep.
who is trying to gain a little bit of ground on Yeti. And that is certainly a realistic expectation, considering that Yeti has seen a lot of the beach today.
And looking at how these tire wear, I think he might be able to lap 16.
That's pretty impressive. That's
a
pretty good stretch on hards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at his lap times right now, and he's definitely driving conservatively to maximize this stint on hards. So, yeah, I would say at this point he's definitely going for a one stop. It's just a question of he would then have to. He's still 12 seconds behind. It's just Carl, so he'd then have to worry about closing that gap.
Yeah, and to your point, if you look at his lap times over on the right-hand side, you'll see that consistency. He's within a half second of his lap time every time. Going all the way back down to at 8th lap, he ran a really a little bit faster. It looks like he backed it off from there on 9, 10 through that. So he might not be pushing too hard and trying to play the long. Those racing hards.
All right.
Highly likely. Strychnine here, coming around on to the entrance for the Major Pain. Getting his markers and trying to eye up the exit.
All right.
Gonna make it nice and easy. Makes it look easy too. And we jump on board with Josh for just a bit here as he comes down the straight.
Yeah.
Getting ready for turn 1. Nice and smooth into the apex. That was well done. Getting left to look right. And staying nice and tight on the inside of that turn.
No commentator's curse just yet.
Nope, looking for his landmarks. He's got them. There's his braking point, about the 50, I think. Coming up here. Just a light touch on the brakes to set himself up for this right. And he sees Strychnine into the dirt. It's a good recovery. A good recovery and a quick back up to speed.
It looked like he was gone.
Yeah, he's starting to struggle on his hards a little bit. Front left is down to about 30% wear.
Yeah. Well, and Josh definitely has a tire advantage on this scenario. So Let's see if Strychnine is eyeing up the pit entrance or not. Coming around the last portion of Major Payne, eyeing their exits up. No big
They're
deal.
going
Nobody
another
going to the
lap.
pits.
Yeah.
And we're going to get a quick replay of what happened to Strychnine here as he's coming around the back half of the track. And just didn't quite get himself turned.
Yeah.
Wow, that was well done. Like you said, it looked like for a second that he was just gone. And then next thing you know, he's back on track, up to speed.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I would like to hear from Strychnine as to why he chose the 2013 over the 2018 model of the GTR.
Yeah. So Howdy might be in this lap with his tire, or he might risk another lap.
And let's jump on board with Howdy for a second here. To your point, those hards don't look great. Lap 16. Carl's 14 seconds ahead of him. And then you got Strychnine, who's really only 3 seconds back. That's not too bad. If you let your tires run out and you make a mistake, that 3 seconds is gone.
Honestly, I think he's going to stay out another lap. Oh, no,
He's
wrong.
in.
Oh, there goes.
I don't know
there
anything
goes.
anymore.
And trust me, these guys will surprise you every chance they get. So
I
now
think
we have a battle
should-
for two with Strychnine and Josh. Sorry, go
He
ahead.
should easily be able to make it to the end now on those mediums.
And
That's what we was talking about. That's why we was keeping an eye on the McLaren, because it's like I said before, it's like even if you make a mistake, you're going to be in a good spot.
yeah, it seems to be pretty kind to the tires compared to some of the other vehicles we're seeing here. As you look at Strychnine on the racing hard, that front left, what do you think? He's got another lap or two, maybe 3?
No, I think at most 2.
2? Okay.
But he could try and undercut.
It also depends on what tire he's
Oh,
going
and
into.
we watched Josh just dip his tires into the sand, and looked like he just kind of overcorrected after that and ran off the other side. Let's take a ride along with him on the replay.
Let's see.
It's going to be just after this section here. Runs a little bit wide. Nope.
Yeah.
Oh, not here. Oh, there it is.
Woo!
Yeah. I don't know that he necessarily overcorrected.
No dipping zone.
Yeah, I don't know that he even overcorrected. I think it just shimmied his car and sent him off. So, Josh now enters the battle for P4 with him and Jack Skellington. Back to the American Muscle versus the American Muscle.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one of these two cars are generally considered, but I think the Corvette might have an advantage, but I think that's usually at higher speed tracks. Around a circuit like this, I think the Ford GT might have a slight advantage, but not really 100% on that.
Yeah, because something to keep in mind is the Vet is more of a low-end torque kind of car, so you always want to short shift that one. So once you get to the end of the revs, you start to lose a bit of power.
And we're going to take a quick replay. You'll see he almost had it done there. Skellington almost lost it. Yeah, that is some nice racing by those two. I got to tell you personally, every time I jump in either of these cars, I feel like they're both very, very finicky. You know, they're very touchy. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot that you have to do to upset the balance of the vehicle and slide one way or another. Slippery is the term I always use. So you'll see Strix come out of the pits now. He has got himself a fresh set of mediums and put himself right here behind Josh and Strychnine, trying to get himself a chance to get into either P4 or even 3 for a podium spot.
Yeah, if the two ahead don't pit, he's gonna. I'm pretty sure he's going to make pretty quick work of both of those. They're on used hards, whereas he's on fresh medium, so he needs to get around these two ASAP.
As we're talking, our leader's dropped into the pits to get himself a fresh set of tires.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we're going to have to see which, if not both of those guys go into the pits, will determine what's going to happen.
Okay.
So here is Skellington in third place.
Yeah,
And he's going to go in. Josh is staying out.
So that just leaves Josh and Strick.
Yeah, Josh and Strict in the battle for 3 and 4.
Strick should have it because he's brand new mediums, as opposed to Josh's less than half hards.
You would think that, but I guess that has not happened just yet. So let's keep an eye on this battle here just for a second. Here goes Strick. He's making a move around. No move.
Josh went defensive. He took the inside of that left-hander.
Yeah,
Oh, Strick's going to try around the outside.
Oh, can he keep it
Oh,
together?
has to back out of it a
That's
bit.
such a hard turn to get outside on. Okay. Keeps himself in position. We're going to go back and take another look at Strychnine coming around this turn here. And getting outside on this turn is just so dangerous.
Like he had a bit of a cold brown here. He probably
Yeah, I would have. Yeah.
It just carried a bit too much speed there. Had to slow down and back out of it.
Yeah, and it just wants to feed your car off into the sand to the left there if you're too wide on that. So it's so easy to get yourself caught in that. Obviously, very aware. Strychnine was able to identify that. Both of them touching the dirt. And there goes Josh
doing
Strychnine.
Josh doing a little bit of cursive driving, as I call it.
We're going to take another look at these two, making that last portion of the major pain exciting. So you'll see Josh going left or right. Not too bad, just a little wiggle, but then a little smoke screen for Strychnine. That's the James Bond edition. I didn't know they had those Gran Turismo.
Hey, if you look hard enough and you'll find anything.
That's right. So as you see now, we're riding on board with our second place driver in Captain Howdy. And he is 12 and a half seconds behind our leader. It's just Carl. Carl seems to be putting on a bit of a clinic here in our last race. As he closes out his 21st
nothing
lap.
Don't change. I'll maintain the notion that I think Howdy would be up there if he didn't have his rallycross experience.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's a tough way to start the race. But to get yourself back into P2 after that, boy, that just says something for, the driver, the car, and the strategy. So he is, he has put lap 1 behind him and done nothing forward. So kudos to Captain Howdy for that. There is P3, Strychnine, who is kind of by himself. If you look in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the red arrow, which is Strychnine. And then the other blue arrows, there's some space between him and anybody else.
Howdy made up about 2 seconds because Carl was overtaking Big Joe since, so he gained about 2 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Casual. We didn't catch that, but certainly important as we see It's Just Carl working his way through the field. Starting to catch up with some of those slower drivers. P4 and 5, we've still got a battle. These two guys have just been buddy-buddy for this race, and it has been quite epic. That GT sounds so good.
Oh no, Strick got disconnected.
What happened?
Yeah,
he was running
engine failure.
P3, right?
Yeah, Strick had gotten himself up to 3. So that moves everybody up 1. Oh, that's tough, And again, TK's talked about it quite a bit yesterday. Cars have engine failure. Cars have pumps blow. Cars have belts blow. Well, in Gran Turismo, we have technical issues. We have lobby issues. Those things still happen. There's a lot of things that have to go right, including you running a good race to win a race. And look at the battle here for P4.
Yeah, it puts a little more pressure on Skellington because now this is for the final spot of the podium.
Yeah, excuse me, I said 4. That's P3. Skellington in 3.
Yeah.
We've got Josh in 4. Coming around
Josh
that back
got
section.
slightly better tires. So we'll see if he can do anything about it.
We got word from Strict 9 that he experienced a power outage, unfortunately.
Oh, that's not cool. That's not cool. Well, it's unfortunate, but that's certainly something that is out of his control.
Yeah.
And we'll be excited to see him come back next week and see what he can do there. Looking back from P3, Jack Skellington, we're watching him and Josh battle for this P3 position. And these two have been back and forth the entire. You'll see that they're quite a ways back from It's Just Carl and Howdy.
So if it remains, looks like Howdy's going to have some extra points for fastest lap.
Yeah, I was going to say, we have not seen that fastest lap change since Howdy put it up, and I'm a little surprised, but then again, my mentality as you get later on, sometimes you gotta calm yourself down, you gotta slow your heartbeat down, you gotta try not to overdrive, and, remember you might be on bad tires. So
that's
maybe
kind of like a video I watched the other day. I watched Dave Cam, and then he put out a video about overdriving, and he was like, "What is overdriving?" And he basically does a 10-lap stint on not overdriving as opposed to trying to overdrive.
Yeah, I would tell you that from my personal experience, that is the number one mistake I make. I try and make the car do things that it wouldn't do. Yeah, it's a video game, but they're trying to replicate real life. Oh, here we go. Josh has got a great exit out of Major Pain. He's going to put himself in a position to try and make a pass on Skellington on the final lap, and he snatches away that podium spot. Can Skellington pull a switcheroo and get it back? I don't think so. Josh is going to have the inside line coming into the left-hand turn. Josh holding that position.
Somewhere I hear Sal holding his breath.
Yeah, Sal holds his breath. Yeah, Josh gets the wide body kit activated for GT.
Yeah.
And we jump on board with the leader. It's Just Carl, who has come around the final turn and is going to close it out with a dominant performance. Dominant performance by It's Just Carl. Well done. Here is Captain Howdy. An unfortunate first lap for him, but still able to maintain a podium position, take P2. And here we go, on to the battle for P3, which we have watched very closely throughout today's race. Josh has put himself in front of Jack Skellington and also gotten himself a little space to work with on Major Pain. He's looking for his P3, and he will certify that with a spin. Well done by those two. That was a fantastic race, watching those guys battle. And how about Yeti in the ever so dangerous Lambo, putting himself in a top 5 position for this race. Well done in that Lambo, but well done for Yeti. PHG Craig in that Porsche. We saw Craig have a couple challenges throughout today's race, but fantastic finish to end up in P6. Big Joe ended in P7.
Yeah, Craig went to soft tires, I think, on lap 23 to try to get fastest lap, but couldn't quite pull it off.
Strong strategy. We saw that happen, and honestly, I think It's Just Carl did that last week and was successful. So, congratulations to our winner, PHG. It's Just Carl. Thanks for making me look like a genius, Carl. I appreciate that. So here we go with our final results. We have PHG. It's Just Carl coming in P1. Captain Howdy with his second place finish. Josh from Team PUB in third. PHG Skellington, also Jack Skellington, coming in P4. PHG Yeti in P5. PHG Craig coming in P6. Big Joe coming in P7. Strict 9 with the very unfortunate issue there, and powering down of the system without your without your knowledge. That's never fun. And I think we had 2 other DNFs. Yeah, there is Stiggy and Tangy. So wonderful race by these guys. That was exciting to watch. Talk about a great battle between Josh and Skellington too. They were relentless against each other, and they fought for those three and 4 positions. Mr. Casual, let me give it to you first. Who is your racer of the day
I mean, for me,
or split?
it's only one for me because fanboyism aside, it's like it has to be a Howdy because he did well to start on pole, but you seen on lap 1 he made a little oopsie poopsies and had a little excursion, and he was down. I think as far as like maybe somewhere around 8th or 9th, and by the end of the race, to work his way back up to 2nd, I think was a good job, all things
Yeah,
considered.
yeah, that's hard to argue with. Tism, who would you say, driver of the split?
So, although Carl he ran a clinic today. Like he kept his nose clean, kept his car out of the sand. I'm gonna give this one to Josh and Skellington. They gave us a nose to tail battle pretty much the entire race. Um, it was well fought. They both kept it really clean. Provided us with some good entertainment throughout that race.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, although I guess I do because I got to go with the obvious. It's just Carl. Thanks for making me look like Nostradamus. I appreciate that. No, and I've been watching him race. He's got plenty of skill. And Mr. Casual said it. Kept his nose clean. He did what had to be done. He executed the strategy he had in his head, and it worked out. I mean, he didn't start pole. Had that not have happened with lap 1, some of the chaos we saw there, that could have been a much different finish. But that's not what happened. So kudos to It's Just Carl for bringing it home in Split 4 today. Any closing thoughts from either of you guys? Or I guess let me start here. Mr. Casual, are you running any of the upcoming races? Is there one you got your eye on?
I'm contemplating on maybe doing the next round, but if I don't do that one, I'm definitely going to give Spa a try.
Okay.
That's one I'm definitely eyeing, but I'm not terrible at Kyoto driving part Yamagiwa. So I'm like, we'll see how I'm feeling next week, but I'm considering maybe next week, but if I don't do next week, I'm definitely doing.
Okay. Tism, what about you, sir?
Yeah, I said that. I mean, I mentioned this before, but I unfortunately missed the Nurburgring round. I think I'll probably join for Spa. I'm a fan of that track, and I don't know, there's always chaos at Monza, so maybe I'll join that one too.
Yeah, that's funny. Spa's one I tend to get a little shy at. I know the track, but there's a lot to do with Spa. So I also like Monza. I'm looking for next week. Those all look fun. I was a little bit sad. I was looking forward to Laguna Seca, but that's the All-Star race. So if all goes well, maybe I'll be able to get out on track and challenge today's winner to a 1-1. So we'll see how that goes. All right, check out both my co-hosts. You'll see Tism has a Twitch there, his Tism Box, and then Mr. Casual has himself a YouTube channel. So please check those guys out. Like, subscribe. Don't forget to like and subscribe to T-Case, who has been an awesome production host for us today. Shout out to T-Case. Another shout out to the PhD community as a whole. You guys are awesome. Great racers, better people, and you guys live up to that expectation every single day, every single race. A big shout out to the entire PHG community. There are so many people behind the scenes making this league happen. Shaggy, Titanium, T-Case, Sal, I'm only naming like the first ones that come to mind, but it is just a small portion of everything that goes into what you guys are getting to see. So kudos to all of you, the drivers, everybody out there. Wonderful job. Be sure to stop by Papa's House of Games on YouTube. Subscribe if you're not already. Get into the Discord. Check the pinned message on the chat that will take you to the website so you can sign up and participate in some of the remaining weeks for the PHG World Series. And looks like you're going to be able to get a chance to track with some of the co-hosts like myself, Tuzum, Casual, Joe, Leo, T Case. So, a lot of these guys will be on track, and you're going to get a chance to come out and race with the entire group. So join the community, get involved. Make your voice heard in the Discord if you like. We'd love to see you there. What an awesome experience. Thank you to the PHG group for having me. It's always an honor to be in the booth here. TK, I'll show you where that charcuterie is. He was asking me.
Yeah, please do.
It's fantastic.
And I want to chime in. Thank you so much, Slow-Mo. Slow-Mo stepping up big. He had some other stuff going on, was able to step in here on Saturday. I did the main commentating yesterday, and I was up for doing it today, but I was beyond relieved to hear that Slow-Mo was able to make it. So shout out to you, Slow-Mo. Thank you so much for being a part of this. As we get Tussenbox and Mr. Casual in the regular flow of things, we'll get them more and more involved. But we always need, our seasoned veterans of the commentating booths in here. So big thanks to you. Slow-Mo, you did awesome. Tussum, you did awesome. Mr. Casual, you did great. You guys were awesome today. Thank you so much.
Oh, too kind of you. Thank you so much. Very kind words. That's hard to follow up.
We had some great racing today, guys. It was fantastic. We had great racing yesterday. I'm going to let our individuals say goodbye one at a time. Tussenbox, the floor is yours.
Again, thanks to PHG for inviting me out to their broadcast. This is still relatively new to me, but I'm getting into the swing of things, and hopefully at least a couple of my people came to hear me speak my mind. But yeah, great experience, thoroughly enjoying it, and I'll be out on track in I think 2 weeks time. I think Spa's in 2 weeks.
Fantastic. Awesome. And you're doing a great job, man. We are happy to have you here. Mr. Casual, your second day in a row commentating. I'll give you the floor to say goodbye.
So, if anyone didn't know, this is my first weekend ever doing this sort of thing. It was like, TK, so it was like, says I do a great job, and you wouldn't that I've literally only just started trying this out to see if it fits, and it seems to fit. But I've been having fun over here watching the racing and commentating. It's been a nice change of pace as opposed to always driving around. I mean, I'll still drive every now and then, but it's a nice change of pace. And thank you to everyone that comes out and supports us in our endeavors, because we couldn't do this without you. So at least from me to everyone in chat, thank you for your time, effort, and energy.
Well said, Mr. Casual. And yes, it is a nice change of pace from being a streamer. I know you are a streamer as well. Check out his channel. It's a nice change of pace, and I really enjoy it. We'll let Slow-Mo, who did, an amazing job on lead, say goodbye to everyone now.
Thank you very much, TK. Tuzum, always a pleasure to be in the booth with you, Mr. Casual. Great weekend of announcing. I never would have guessed this was your first weekend. You sounded like a pro all the way through it. So well done to both you gentlemen. It's been great being in the booth with everybody today. TK's, awesome job behind the scenes. We couldn't do it without you. For those of you guys who do get a chance to stop by my page, we are going to be kicking things back up a little bit, and you're going to see some new content coming out. For those of you guys who want to get into racing, check out all the resources that are on YouTube. Papa, T-Case, take some lessons from people. It's easy to get your skill level up. It just takes a little bit of practice and a little bit of time, and you could end up in split one of the PHG World Series. We look to see everybody on track. Cheers to everybody out there. Have yourself a great weekend. On behalf of myself, PHG, and my co-hosts, get on track and be safe out there.
Later, y'all. We're going to run some credits now. All the information of everybody involved is going to be in these credits. So stay tuned. Look at the credits. Look at the channels in there. Give some love. Thank you all so much for being here. And y'all take care. Have a great rest of your Saturday.
Wheels burn on the track. PHG is where it's at. Roads long and winding, but our team's always grinding. Underneath the starry sky, engines roar, we fly. Sweat beading on our brow. Teamwork's the key right now. We win together, rain or shine. PSG forever, crossing the line. Gasoline and fire, chasing every desire. Around the curves we go. Teamwork keeps our flow. Every gear we shift feels like a gift. Speeding down the lane, victories in our name. We win together, rain or shine. PSG forever, crossing the line. Gasoline and fire, chasing every desire. Around the curves we go. Teamwork keeps our flow. Every gear we shift feels like a gift. Speeding down the lane, victor's in our name. We win together, rain or shine. PSG forever, crossing the line. Every gear we shift feels like a gift, speeding down the lane. Victor's in our name. We win together, rain or shine. PHG forever, crossing the line. Wheels burn on the track. PHG is where it's at. Roads long and winding, but our team's always grinding. Underneath the starry sky, engines roar, we fly. Sweat beading on our brow. Teamwork's the key right now. We win together, rain or shine. PSG forever, crossing the line. Gasoline and fire, chasing every desire. Around the curves we go. Teamwork keeps our flow. Every gear we shift feels like a gift, speeding down the lane. Victory's in our name. We win together, rain or shine. PSG forever, crossing the line. Gasoline and fire, chasing every desire. Around the curves we go. Teamwork keeps our flow. Every gear we shift feels like a gift, speeding down the lane. Victor's in our name. We win together, rain or shine. PSG forever, crossing the line. Wheels burn on the track. PHG is where it's at. Roads long and winding, but our team's always grinding. Underneath the starry sky, engines roar, we fly. Sweat beading on our brow. Teamwork's the key right now. We win together, rain or shine. PSG forever, crossing the line. Gasoline and fire, chasing every desire. Around the curves we go. Teamwork keeps our flow. a gift, speeding down the lane. Victory's in our name. We win together.